Joining me is the panel, Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer, and David Elliott, former New South Wales Liberal Minister. Michael, where is Peter Dutton's reshuffle? Who do you think he should promote and who demote? Because I think he does need more help than he's getting from some.
Andrew, I'm going to disagree with you on this. Look, I do think that Senator Price is an exceptional political candidate in any position she's put into, and I think that one day she will be Prime Minister, our first Indigenous Prime Minister. I think that's all true. But I think the culture wars can't be won in one term. And I think Dutton's doing the right thing. He's picking issues that he knows he can get immediate runs on, and Australia Day isn't a good one because, the polling has shown very clearly where Australians are on that issue. I think if he went further on the cultural wars, he risks splitting his own party. You've got to remember, and Dave can tell you this, how divided the Liberals are internally. You have, it's still in New South Wales, a very left-wing Liberal Party. I think he's got to focus on the economy. I think James Carville's right. To win this election, you've actually got to discredit the government's approach to the economy. It's the economy stupid. I think that's got to be the slogan that guides policy. And he's got so much on that. I know you say that he's already winning, but he's got to push through on what his solutions are. And remind people that they're worse off 3 years later. I mean, that was the beauty of the Trump strategy. And if you ask that question, are you worse off today than you were 3 years ago? People are going to say very clearly they are. And he's got a lot in that. Stealth taxes, the budget,
Michael,
declining productivity.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you that should be Peter Dutton's main focus. What I'm saying is appointing Senator Price to a portfolio like I'm suggesting, lets her do the culture warfare, and it fits perfectly into the things that's already been saying about the flag, about the national anthem and whatever, and that kind of thing. So I don't know if it's a separate culture war. I think it's the same one, and he can then give it to someone else to do. But that's me. David Elliott, what do you think?
Well, I think any Liberal that opposes or begrudges Jinta Price is a fool. I mean, she is a vote magnet. And if you're a marginal seat candidate in Western Sydney, or if you're a marginal seat candidate in regional Western Australia, you want Jinta Price standing next to you at every opportunity. And I think she's proven that. And she will be the silent cannon against wokeism. But you're quite right, Michael's right. I mean, it's the economy first, second and third. We need to, minimum, I think the coalition needs to win a half a dozen seats in metropolitan Sydney if it's going to get a majority. And that means that we've got to win Teals and we've got to win conservative working class people in Western Sydney. And to do that, I think Jinta will be an asset, but we've also got to have some local talent promoted as well. And I mean, if you're asking me who I think Dutton should be promoting other than Jinta, I think, and for the Teals, it'd be Dave Sharma and Maria Kovacic. And if you want some, red meat eating Western Sydney conservatives, you'd go to somebody like Alex Hawke, who speaks the language and can whip them up into a frenzy.
I would have thought another Alex Antic would perhaps do the job. Yeah, look, good points there. One other change I think Dutton should make, and I do agree with you, he's got to go on the economy, Michael. But like I said, that would leave Jinta free to do, some of the flame throwing on culture. One other change, super. There are now reports of backbenchers telling Peter Dutton he should cap compulsory superannuation contributions to 9% and let people use their super to buy themselves their first home, and more than the $50,000 that Dutton said he would allow. Would it be a good idea to give people more freedom to spend their super on housing as they see fit?
Andrew, it's always a good idea to give people freedom, but I think that's another vote loser that I wouldn't be recommending. And the reason I say that is that one of the only things that probably the Turnbull government did that was reasonable was introduce what they call it, the First Home Super Saver scheme, which give concessional savings similar to super to first home buyers, and that's been relatively successful, and this government's reformed that. The problem is that most super balances in these sort of age group where people are looking for a home are pretty low. They're around $60,000, and really that's not going to buy you much. Really the housing issue is the issue, but it's a supply issue, and he really does need to focus in on those supply issues, the planning problems, and Dave will know this. It's impossible to get DAs through and proper planning strategies. Even this government, Min's government, New South Wales is struggling. Then you've got construction costs, which come into the IR reforms that this government's failing on, and then the sort of financing packages. So I think that's where I'd be focusing. And immigration, of course.
Don't forget the immigration rate, which is helping to cause all this. David, I wonder if the Prime Minister is in the right headspace for an election campaign. I was struck by how touchy he was again at his press conference in Tasmania today, or one of them. Here are two examples.
Prime Minister, why won't you agree to a national cabinet on anti-Semitism?
I've had a meeting yesterday.
I know you've had a meeting.
Well, hang on.
Could you address the national cabinet idea, though? You have referred to the meeting you've had. Could you address the national cabinet idea?
Okay, when you're finished, I'll...
Right now would be great.
No,
that's
get it all out.
That's it.
Good. I've had a meeting with the Victorian Premier and the New South Wales Acting Premier yesterday.
By leaving open the option of special legislation on salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour, to what extent are you undermining Tanya Plibersek in her role, which is a statutory role under the EPPC Act?
Not at all. You ask me hypothetical questions and you get non-confirming answers, funnily enough.
But you certainly didn't rule it out. You said, do you consider that at the time?
Well, what does that mean?
David Elliott, what's going on with Albanese and that good bloke image that he had earlier?
Yeah, it's dripping away, isn't it? I mean, there is, I've been around politics long enough to know that that's a man under stress. That's a man who probably isn't across the detail that he should be. I mean, he shouldn't be belittling the journalists as much as we've all wanted to do it, and I have, and I'm pretty sure Michael's done it once or twice. I might have even encouraged a few of the journalists to G him up. But I'm concerned that the Prime Minister is not really across the detail, because when fact creates a vacuum, you fill it with fantasy, and his response to what should be detailed policy questions has been to divert attention, and that says to me that he's not starting the year well. He was supposed to start the year well. Everybody said at the end of 24, he's got to come out guns blazing, and it doesn't look like that's the mentality that he's taken with him.
Michael Costa, David Elliott, thank you so much for you both, and thanks for coming on with me for the first time, David. I really appreciate that.
No, my pleasure.